Hello. It is like 1 o'clock, something like that. It's 1:36. And I know it's day 3 of back-to-back walking. Someone's coming. Hi, how's it going? Oh, pretty good. So yeah, it's day 3 of the back-to-back walking, and well, there's a lot I want to talk about, but first, I totally forgot to talk about what I was doing yesterday and the day before, and kind of what I'm doing today. I have been struggling to get all these 4K videos that I've been shooting rendered. Oh, hi. No, you're fine. But yeah, so I've been struggling to get all these 4K videos rendered. To move a week's worth of videos from this camera, which I had, I think, 3 or 4 videos. It was like, I don't know, it was like a total of like 6 hours or something of video footage. That took me 12 hours to move to the external NAS server I have. And oh my gosh. Like, I think part of it was getting it onto the NAS server requires bandwidth, and the Wi-Fi is not very good. And I probably should have dragged my computer, because it's a laptop. I could have just brought it to the, what's it called? To right next to the router for a better signal. I just didn't think of it, and I think that's why it took 12 hours. So I think, assuming I have high-speed Wi-Fi, that shouldn't be the problem. However, rendering the video yesterday, which was, what is that? Huh. Do you hear that? That's cool. But the video that I was rendering yesterday, for yesterday, by the way, still not posted. I'm gonna have to post that and today's video today, because I'm rendering today's video, and yesterday's video took until like 6 o'clock in the morning to render. So I spent an entire like day and a half just uploading and dragging everything onto the laptop, and then I started rendering. So I guess that's kind of, you guys will have seen this already be posted, but that's why I wasn't able to upload, because I was just sitting rendering. And I've done the math. I won't be able to keep all the raw footage if I want to last the 4 months or potentially 5 months, because 4 months brings me to November. And as I've kind of discovered, it's very possible that if I want to get to everywhere I want to go to, 4 months won't be enough time. So it might actually be 5 months, which brings me to the new year, effectively. Coming back in January, maybe even February, I don't know. But regardless, that's a separate topic that I'll talk about after this. So, I guess the big thing that I've been working on is figuring out the flow for the laptop, which I'm really glad that I'm figuring out now, because, oh my gosh, it is crazy. Yeah, no problem. But yeah, so I'm glad I'm figuring this out now, because that means I might have to render a video each day, because almost all the videos are going to be 4K. So, and not because I don't want to do non-4K videos, but because if I'm out exploring and I'm walking around, I'm going to be using this camera. So why would I not shoot in 4K if I'm using this camera? So that kind of leads me to the conundrum of, if I have 10 terabytes of free space, how much video am I actually going to be able to fit on there? Because if I render everything, an average render is 40 to 60 gigs for a 4K video. The actual raw footage is like, I don't know, something like 100 gigs in some cases, or more. Like the 4 days was like 260 or 270 gigs, which is kind of insane. So if the average week is a quarter of a terabyte, you're looking at like 1 month being a terabyte. Well, okay. If 1 month is a terabyte, then that's 10 months, which is not actually how it's going to math out, but I think I might actually be okay. And, okay, so I'm not actually as worried now. I just have to make sure that whole 10 terabyte drive is empty before I leave. Because if it's not, then I'm kind of fucked. You know, I'm not fully fucked, but like, that's gonna be really crucial to keep all my stuff. Otherwise, I'm gonna inevitably have to spend money to get storage or delete stuff. And in either scenario, I'm not happy. So, yeah. So there's that. But I'm thinking, if it takes 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours, depending on how long the video is, to render, then what I might need to start doing is, at the end of the day, just pull today's video, drag it on. That might take an hour. And then from dragging it on to the hard drive, then I'll be able to render it. Rendering it takes like 6 or 8 hours. So theoretically, it'll be done when I wake up, and then I just go about my day. And then, because it really doesn't take any effort on my part to really, once I have everything edited the way I want to, which isn't actually all that difficult because I'm not doing crazy edits. The video, really, the majority of my editing is just making sure that they're in the right places, which, luckily for me, the video is shot in chronological order, and I do it in chronological order when I upload, so I'm not doing some crazy edits there. Oh, hey, little squirrel. Hi. Oh my gosh, the squirrel is so acrobatic. It jumped from tree to tree. But, yeah. Need to blow my nose. So I'm gonna put you guys down. Well, I'm just gonna... $12 minutes, okay. Okay. Now, this is the preamble because I don't want to spend the whole time talking about rendering stuff. That's not the point. The point is I'm getting the system down. There's some growing pains, but I'm figuring it out. And so the scheduling should be back up to the normal time in the next, I don't know, like 2 days. I think it'll probably take 2 days to catch up. Like I'm rendering a video right now, which should be done in another hour or so from right now, which means by the time I get back, should be done. And then I'll start rendering the next video, which is not 4K. So that'll be quick. The non-4K videos are like 5 minutes. So it's like astonishing the difference that it takes. And I guess, I don't know if I feel like the 4K videos are worth it in the long run. But in the short term, it does make things more difficult. But yeah. I also want to start kind of working on I guess I want to try and see if I can get better at, like, I guess interacting with people and seeing if they're cool, like, with me filming or whatever. But I hesitate because I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, I'm filming everything and, you know, our conversations are only for content. And so I want to strike that right balance between, you know, I'm here, I'm doing a thing, I'm filming it, and then you know, I have enjoying conversations with people that aren't, you know, filmed. So, yeah. I am realizing that monsoon season, I will most likely be in the Southeast Asian area during monsoon season. So I don't know. I'm not sure how that's gonna go. I know that this camera will be fine. I specifically made sure that this camera is like waterproof or resistant up to, I think, you know, like 10 meters or something. So if it starts raining on it, it'll be fine. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna be like to deal with monsoon season. You know, I saw a guy walking around. He's in his 60s, filming his kind of own journey of stuff. And, you know, it was just like, he was just doing his thing. It's raining, it's whatever. Suddenly starts raining, then it's fine, then it starts raining again. So I don't know. I guess, you know, a windbreaker jacket that is waterproof, that I'll be able to use when it's raining, where I'm not sweating my balls off. It's probably something I should invest in. So that, and like something that can protect my backpack, especially if I'm going on like day hikes or whatever, to go and visit things. I'm gonna want to protect the backpack as well. But I will have to write that down and think about it. Anyway, so I was talking to my buddy who does a lot of travel, or has done a lot of travel, and he brought up a bunch of different places that's like, you definitely should go to this place, and these are cool. And I'm like, fuck, okay. And yeah, I don't know, like, oh, this little bird. Hi, little bird. Hi. It's just waddling around on the ground. It's so funny. But yeah, my list has expanded, which is why the estimated 4 months for a trip is now ballooning to like 6 months or 5 months, because it's like, oh, if I want to visit Europe, I can do it within a month, and that's fine, but, or just a couple weeks. But if I want to spend the bulk of my time in Southeast Asia, in that area, like I want to spend a month in Japan, the friend that I have that works in a restaurant near me, he was talking about how, like, hey, if you're in God, what's it called? Fuck, Vietnam, there we go. If you're in Vietnam in December, he's like, I will also be in Vietnam in December, and I could actually, like, show you around and, you know, introduce you to local stuff. I could meet his family, that'd be cool. because he talks very highly of, you know, how much he misses his family and he wants to spend time with them. And yeah, he's going there for a wedding as well, I think. But yeah, it's one of those things where that would be really cool to be able to have someone I actually know in Vietnam, and to be able to kind of do some translating, and just like, I just think he's a really cool person. Like, in and of itself, like, hanging out with him outside of his work would be awesome. So I would love to spend time hanging out. But if I do that, it is in December. And if my plans are July, the end of July, it's August, September, October, November, December. That's 5 months. So, I counted to 5. But, yeah, so I'm thinking, well, hell, at that point, you know, it would be 5 months. And then he talked about how it's the end of the month, the end of December, like, you know, showing up maybe a week before. So if I really wanted to, like, have a decent amount of like times hanging out, I'd probably want to stay for at least another week or two after he kind of does, you know, the wedding stuff he was talking about was on the 26th, which is around the Christmas time. And then there's New Year's stuff. And so realistically, this kind of this whole trip leg in Vietnam, you know, if I spend a month there and a month in Japan and a month in Italy, that leaves, or not Italy specifically, a month in Europe. That's 3 months I've kind of checked off as like, these are the times I'm doing the things. And, you know, I still want to go to, like, there's a few places that my buddy was like, these places are beautiful, you should check out. Like, go to Thailand, go to oh god, I keep Cambodia, and then there's also in Indonesia, there's a place that he was mentioning. Hello, little spider. You're just hanging. But yeah, so there's kind of a bunch of different, I don't know, like, there's just a bunch of different locations in Southeast Asia that I want to check out. And oh yeah, and I haven't talked about South Korea or the Philippines yet. So it's like, even if I just do 1 week on each place, I already added it up. It's like, this is before I realized I was going to spend so much time potentially in Vietnam. And so it's like, well, shit. Fuck. These fucking flies or bees are very aggressive. They zoom past your ear. And it's like, what the heck? But yeah, so so if the trip is longer, I'm like, fuck, that is number one, it's going to be more expensive, obviously. But the good thing is it would be Southeast Asia, and that is relatively way cheaper than other places. So like I don't feel too stressed if I spend an extra month in Southeast Asia, especially because doing napkin math with my buddy on the way he would spend his time there and his expenses, you know, he mathed out that like in a month he might spend like $3,000, and that's him staying at a 5-star hotel and having like, you know, doing all these tours and going to different places. And so I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to go that crazy being there. So, you know, I'm okay with having reasonable accommodations that aren't, you know, they don't have to be godly 5-star hotels. They can be nice, and, you know, I don't want to be living in a crack shack somewhere, but, you know, this is also assuming a hotel as opposed to a like Airbnb or something. So so yeah, that's kind of the trip situation as it's unfolding. I still feel like something in Italy is going to change my trajectory a bit, which is why I'm thinking I kind of plan for like I definitely, before I leave, oh, I thought someone was coming. Before I leave, I definitely buy the plane ticket to Virginia, obviously, and then the plane ticket to Italy, and then from Italy, you know, I probably should buy. I feel like I shouldn't buy the plane ticket from Italy. Now I don't know if that's allowed, especially because the plan is to visit, you know, like it would be cool to visit like France and Spain, so on and so forth. So yeah, I guess, you know, also there's the idea that the plane tickets are kind of a hop, skip, and a jump. So I guess getting a plane ticket that can be transferable, specifically from Italy to, I don't know, like France as an example. And then if things change, you know, change it. But my thought is to be like a couple weeks to a month ahead of the actual trip. So like, you know, I still haven't gotten the Virginia tickets, which I need to do. I was gonna do that Monday, and then I've been so focused on getting the stuff uploaded because I'm behind now. So I don't know, like, but I should get it today, realistically. And then if I'm doing that, getting a hotel there, and then I guess planning the Italy, like Italy to Rome and whatnot. One thing that my buddy told me, which does put a load off on me, is the idea that you can, in fact, what's it called? You can, oh, right. You can use like Expedia or Orbitz or some of these other US-based kind of tourist plane ticket booking sites as both a means of protection and also as a means to just kind of plan your trip in advance. You're going to pay more being on those sites as opposed to just kind of YOLOing it, which I don't want to do. And even then, you know, he was talking about like, oh, here's a 5-star hotel that he stayed in Cambodia. It's $40 a night. And it's like, wow, fuck, that sounds great. You know, I don't know what the exact stay, you know, that's still $1,200 a month if I was using it as like a rent thing. But to be fair, like, I know that it's going to be expensive for accommodations and whatnot. So, you know, I've already kind of budgeted that out. I gotta blow my nose again. But, okay. So I brought that part up. I wanted to mention it because it's getting closer. We're 2.5 weeks now away. And that snap of the fingers, it's fucking the day of the trip. I'm also still unsure if I'm gonna do just backpack. Most likely, that's a fantasy at this point, because my buddy's like, hey, I told him about the merino wool or whatever. He's like, bro, you're gonna wear that during the summer? You're fucked if you do that. And I'm like, what? He's like, bro, it's just gonna be too hot and you're gonna struggle. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he mentioned you really just need shorts and, you know, your cotton shirts or like the jerseys. I'm not saying wear a bunch of jerseys, but like that jersey material for like basketball or workout clothes. He was like, those are actually the best clothes for that kind of environment. It may not last you multiple days, but if you're paying for a hotel, they'll have a service to clean your clothes. So really, the only thing you have to worry about is space at that point. And yeah, taking 7 shirts for a week of clothes, it's like, okay. Basically go from one place to another, get one wash, and then switch to the next place. That shouldn't be too bad. Fuck. It's 35 minutes. I'm gonna turn around. I thought about doing a longer walk today, but not feeling it. But yeah, so I guess that's really all there is to that. Believe it or not, that was the preamble. So the kind of thing I wanted to actually touch base on, and something I wanted to work through, is, and again, I can thank there was actually 2 elderly YouTubers that just randomly popped up on my feed. Never seen them before. They have a lot of great wisdom. And I was like, damn, I need to watch these videos. So I ended up watching both. One was just talking about, he's 60 years old, or 60 plus years old, and how traveling and living in Southeast Asia, and kind of retiring in that spot, like he talked about it from the perspective of an elder, where it's like, hey, the healthcare system's not as bad as everyone thinks, because you think about 20 years ago, okay, fair. But now, the healthcare system there is much more advanced and, quite frankly, really good. And, the main thing is, if you're retiring there, you just need to make sure to have stuff set aside. You either have insurance, or if you're not getting insurance, because insurance is incredibly expensive for older people, you just set aside some money. And this is in case I get fucked somehow, this is the money I'm going to use to heal myself, and go to the hospital. And then kind of like knowing your local hospital or your local clinic, knowing where it is, having someone who can that can drive you there if something happens, so on and so forth, which all makes sense, especially as you get older. Naturally your body is going to struggle, so I guess that just makes sense. But he talked about how, and this is kind of the main thing that really stuck out to me. You're kind of always growing, and you're always kind of advancing in some form. And as you travel more and more, he talked about starting to cultivate yourself and working on not just working on, but kind of realizing that as you travel actually wears down any excess things. God damn, I'm sweating. Travel kind of wears down your preconceived notions, your morality, your ideas of how you view the world, and it kind of shaves off that extra layer that you had because you lived in X place. And so there's a lot of preconceived notions because you were living there that kind of get removed because you've started traveling around, seeing different cultures, different ways of life, realizing that things that mattered here don't matter in other places, and vice versa, right? So that to me is like, okay, it's like a polishing. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I need. It reaffirms to me that I do need to do this trip. So, not that I wasn't going to, but it's another reason. So I can really see what falls away throughout this journey. And see what really matters. You know, he talked about living with effectively nothing, like he has his pension or whatever it is. I don't know specifically if he's on a pension or, you know, if it's just a YouTube stuff. But, you know, he talks about just basically owning nothing and being incredibly happy. And that makes sense. The more stuff you have, the more attached you become and the more burdensome it is to the specific things that you have. But I will say, it's not for everyone. So, you know, one size does not fit all when it comes to this kind of stuff. Aside from that, I guess what I'm kind of working on right now is, you know, I have been shaving off a lot of that excess stuff. I don't think I should be totally nomad with nothing, but I also don't think I should be carrying around 10,000 boxes of stuff, right? There's like a balance. And I'll find that balance while I'm out doing this trip. I think also something that I really need to work on is learning to it's learning to live obviously in an authentic way, but there's more to it than that. It's like living in a way that I feel joy at the things I am doing on a consistent basis. And, you know, for lack of a better term, smelling the roses. Because, what is that sound? That is a crazy bird. It's a bigger bird. I saw it fly away. What a weird bird sound. Oh my God. This fucking fly. But yeah, so I guess coming back to it, I really want to hammer down, like, okay, one of my goals for this trip is to really figure out a routine that I can do regardless of where I am. Is there one of those big birds here? Yeah. Oh. Oh, hey, owl. Is that an owl? Hi. Yeah, it's an owl. Who's eating something? Hi. Hi. Aren't you adorable, huh? All right, bye. The owl was doing this like neck thing where it was doing this thing, moving its neck around. Okay, so that's what I saw. I saw the owl. And that's what is making those noises, is the owls. That's kind of crazy. I also just saw it eating something. I don't know if it was a snake or a bird or something, but it had caught something. Anyway, owls aside. That's also why it's so quiet. There's no other birds chirping. Because the owls were hunting. Anyway, so I want to figure out a routine that can be done from theoretically anywhere that is a mind, body, spirit routine that I can just keep doing to keep my body active, and in some semblance of shape. It doesn't have to be, I'm not looking to become some crazy bodybuilder, but just some basic routine stuff for like flexibility, for like keeping my muscles toned, and health. And then also having like for the mind, mind and soul. There's kind of like that idea of meditation, energy work, that kind of stuff. And I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, and I've been trying to figure it out. Just doesn't seem like the right time. And I say that not meaning it's not the right time to figure it out, but just I feel like this other stuff I'm doing right now is more important because I'm having to move and do all of this getting ready to leave. So yeah. But I have been thinking about it, and I'm keeping it all in mind. Now, another thing, and I'm kind of moving to the next video I watched that kind of was really helpful. This older lady was talking about how she's been like taking care of the elderly in her line of work, I don't know if she's like a hostile person or something, but she's been taking care of the elderly for several, tens of years. And one thing she mentioned, which really stuck out to me, you have kind of two factions of old people, broadly speaking. And obviously there are specifics and there's, yada, yada, yada. But broadly speaking, you have the faction of elderly who feel old and are still working through the struggles with appearance and with kind of not being happy with their body and all of this stuff. And with these faction, they're always chasing, like there was a mention of this this 80-year-old or 90-year-old that was worried about her wrinkles because her 70-year-old daughter or friend or whatever has youthful skin. Now again, it's all relative, but worrying about the way you look and all of this stuff, this is a fundamental problem we have that we struggle with just as people, like not being comfortable in your own skin. And she also mentioned the idea that like this second faction is totally the opposite, where they have long let go of the physical attachment to how they look or whatever. They're comfortable in their body and they're happy genuinely with what they're doing, and they just do whatever they want to do regardless of their age. They're just out there living their life. And these people are youthful relative to their age, where they just generally are happier. And because they're so happy, I think this does wonders for your body, because your mind does influence your body. And that's something that's really tough to wrap your head around. Especially if you're like, how does the mind influence the body? Well, it's all about your perspective on your life, how you view yourself. If you think you're old, your body will age relative to where you think you are. And then vice versa. Your body will, I guess, act younger. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's kind of the best analogy there. It's like your body is, I don't know, just there's a resonance between your mind and body. And, well, obviously your soul, right? So if you feel like you're young and you have stuff you want to do, you go and do it. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain this other than that. But the thing that stuck with me as something I need to really be working on, she asked, like, the viewer, if you could, be happy right now, what's the thing stopping you from being happy? What's the thing where you think, sorry, I thought I felt some sort of bug or something. I wasn't sure if it was like a spider or something. Okay. Anyway. So the point is, what's the thing that you think you need to have to be happy? Because guess what? That's not actually going to make you happy. It's the hill. It's the hill you're trying to climb, the mountain you're trying to reach, the peak. And so instead of focusing on the destination, you really need to be focused on every part of the journey, which may sound cliche, but it's true. It's true advice. If you focus on every moment being a joyful moment, well, that's it right there, right? If you're happy in the moment, then you don't need to try and look for things to make you happy or to make you feel loved or supported or whatever. And I think that is the essence of what I'm on the precipice of right now, is, man, these bugs. I need to blow my nose. So I thought about, in my own life, why I'm unhappy. Because I am unhappy. I'm happy, but I am unhappy, if that makes sense. It's like, I feel like a bowstring pulled taut, and I'm waiting to be released. And this interim period feels agonizing. And I emphasize feels because it isn't actually agonizing on an individual level. I have really great people around me. We have our differences, but they're kind people. You know, I've talked about some of my struggles with them. That doesn't take away from the fact that, like, if they were on a self-improving journey like I was and am, then we would probably still be living together. So, it really is not, it has nothing to do with them as people. It has to do with their goals in life and how they've decided to stop on the road and I've decided to keep going. And there's nothing wrong with either scenario. There's nothing wrong with stopping on the side of the road, and there's also nothing wrong with wanting to continue to grow. They're just different ways of going about life, and we all can make our own decisions on what we're going to be doing. So for me, the thing that I'm wanting is people who grow just like I do, that I can share moments with, and that I can enjoy spending time with, hanging out and, whatever. And I realize, does that mean I shouldn't hang out with people who aren't interested in that? No, of course not. That would be stupid. But yet, I've been so focused on, okay, well, you know, this soul family is going to come in, and this partner is going to come in, and it's going to change everything because they're on the growth path just like I am, and it's going to be great. And once they show up, then I'm going to be happy. And I realized I fell into that exact trap that she had talked about of focusing on the destination rather than the present. And as I kind of get ready to go, we're down to the last 10 minutes. Should I change the battery now? Yeah, I'm going to change the battery right now, just so I have plenty of time to talk. I'll be back in a sec. All right, I'm back. So yeah, so this is, you know, it's a trap that you kind of need to consistently be like working through until you kind of make that major breakthrough of not needing anything to make you happy and just being happy being, if that makes sense. And, you know, I talk about the peace and serenity that I've cultivated internally, and how that is something that I can always go to. And it just instantly is like, yep, I'm good. And I've realized the next step, oh man, my knee, sorry. Okay. The next step is not just peace, but happiness and joy. And it's like, oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. If you have a internal built thing that can't be touched by the external world, then the next thing you do is put things inside of that small world that you're creating internally that are things you want that won't be affected by external circumstance. Doesn't that make sense? To me, it does. So you find peace so you can be peaceful regardless of the situation. Even if it's tough sometimes, you know, it's being able to exist in that peaceful state while still fully immersing yourself in the experience. And that is tough. I've been working pretty hard on trying to get to that point where I can both feel the full emotions and experience of everything while also being at peace. And it's a balancing act. But the next thing is adding in the joy, the love, and the happiness and excitement. Adding these things to that inner world, and you know, obviously I'm saying these are things you want to add, but maybe they're not for some people. we each individually get to pick what goes in there. So, you know, I'm not saying you should do this, but if you love hating, theoretically you could put hate in there. So you're like, yeah, I hate everything regardless of where I'm at. You know, you think about it, there are some people who are like that, where they just hate everything. Is that a way to live life? Well, not, you know, I wouldn't want to live that way. But some people may enjoy that. Enjoy hating. And, you know, to each their own. Usually that comes up. Oh. Gotta be careful. Okay. Usually that comes up in the form of kind of like wounds. But I'm sure there are enlightened people who are just like, I pick hate. It's like, that seems ridiculous, but like, I'm sure there's probably someone out there who's done that. And you know what? If that's how they want to live their life, then they can live it that way. But anyway, thought experiment aside, the point is, you put whatever you want in there. And when you put whatever you want in there, you effectively, it is your sanctuary. And, you know, I don't know if peace is ultimately the thing that everyone starts with as a foundation. It may not be. I don't know. I just know for me, that's what it was, is peace first. Where even when things get rough, I can always kind of shift the focus, because I can always pull back into that peace in order to kind of analyze things. And yeah, it's and you know, obviously I think the ultimate goal is to be able to exist inside of that peace at all times, while still allowing for the full range of experience, all heightened to whatever degree you want to heighten it to. And I'm getting closer to that, but, you know, it's a process. But getting back to what I was saying. So yeah, love, joy, happiness, relaxation. You know, there's peace, but then there's relaxation. You can be peaceful, but vigilant. And I want to be peaceful and relaxed. So, yeah, kind of seeing the direction. That's what kind of matters. Just being able to see the direction and then walking it. But I don't know. I think this idea of working on your personal sanctuary and kind of building the things inside it that you want to always have access to. Because I know for me, I'm aware that outside external factors cannot make me happy or make me feel loved. It's only the internal factors that can. This is why I'm careful about this part. It's 2 times I almost fell. I'm glad I didn't, but it's being careful. I gotta blow my nose again. I also will say, mentioning, I'm gonna walk over this way because we're just about here, and I want to have a little extra walk just so I can talk a little bit more. But there's something to be said about why is it that I've been struggling with weight for so long? Because really, it is incredibly simple to lose weight. It's hard, but it's simple. And I think one of the things is being happy looking the way I do right now, and then working on weight goals or whatever. Whereas internally, there's this idea that I need to lose the weight first before I'm happy with the way my body looks. And this is really a deep-seated thing I've struggled with for a very long time. Feeling like because I'm heavy, I'm unlovable, or I shouldn't be worthy of love. Those were like really negative thoughts that kept bouncing around in my head for the majority of my younger life. And it's only recently, in the past few years, where I've kind of removed the self-talk and instead reaffirm that I can be loved regardless of the way my body looks, because internally, there's this idea that people will see the inside of me as I interact with them, and that is what I want to be loved. And the body doesn't really matter. Not in the true sense of love. However, I'm realizing that because I detached that aspect, it's kind of been just hanging out as well, what do I do with these feelings of kind of not being satisfied with the way I look? Specifically about being, heavy. I don't particularly have any weird thing about, my face or my beard or hair or whatever. Or any specific part of my body. I haven't really had any any negative self-talk around that, or any fear around that. Fear of people not loving me because my hair is not perfect, nothing like that. And so it's I'm part way there. I'm most of the way there. It's specifically the fat on my stomach, and I guess on my thighs a little bit. But, you know, in general, it's the fat that, that I'm kind of, there's almost like a repulsion of like, ugh, like, I don't like that. And I think I need to accept myself in my entirety. Before I lose weight. Now, just to be clear, I have been losing weight. I've been consistently in the like 260 range, 260, 262. Okay, I'm turning around here. 260, 262. You know, I went down to like 255 for a little bit, but that's kind of the area I've been circling. And part of it is, I think there's a lot of reasons why I haven't made it past that. But I think the most important thing is loving myself in my entirety. That includes the fat that I don't really like. And yeah, that's really what it boils down to, is like, I love almost all of me, and almost all of me is not all of me. And while I'm almost all of me, I can't truly progress to the stage of putting that love into the peace zone, if you will, because it needs to be absolute in order for it to go there. You can't just sometimes love. You know, I've talked about the unconditional love, and unconditional love includes parts of your body that you may not be happy with. And yeah, it's like, that's tough for me. So I know that this is something that is an internal thing that I still need to work on. And, you know, tied to this love, there's also happiness. But I kind of realized, at least for me, the love is so crucial for the other steps that I really need to be fully loving myself and have that in the sphere before I focus on anything else. I'm so close. So it's like, you know, I think that's something I need to like meditate on when I get home. But yeah. Although I do also gotta post those videos. So I'll probably do both. Oh God. I was like, I gotta post the videos. Oh right, I also got to do the get the plane ticket. And I'm like, man, I made two really valid but also fucked excuses. Because it's like, at the end of the day, if I post a video at 12 at night, so I'm going to watch Supergirl with my friend at like 7:45. So if I post the video at 12, like realistically, that's not a big deal. So that's not actually an excuse. And then same thing with the plane ticket. If I buy it tomorrow as opposed to today, it's not a big deal. So really, those excuses are pointless before what really matters, which is, yeah, I gotta fucking slot in that love. And I gotta love everything of me, every part of me. So, yeah, fuck it. I gotta do that. Okay. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. Yeah. Because, you know, I guess to close out on everything, if I wait for someone else as I am, and I don't solve the love and happiness thing myself, I'm always going to be reliant on someone else to give me happiness, give me love. Because as long as it's not unconditional happiness and unconditional love, well, you really are giving your sovereignty to someone else. Because you can give yourself unconditional love, and you can give yourself unconditional happiness. Really, the key is the unconditional. So I guess like Pokemon, I got my starter. That starter is peace. Now I need to catch love. And then happiness. And catching requires you facing yourself and overcoming the limitations you set for yourself, which can be done at any time. So it's not like you could instantaneously change your perspective. Most people can't do that because it requires a lot of internal understanding of yourself and blah, 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 whatever, right? But I've built up enough accumulation. I can make this happen. So I guess by the end of the week, I want that taken care of as well. So I'm not starting out with well, yeah, I want to start my journey out on the right foot. And I think that requires me to be on the right foot that way. So, yeah. Okay. Thanks for listening. I think it's going to be another one of those, this is the only video for the day. But, yeah, I'm glad that I did 3 days in a row. Might do a 4th day in a row, you know, we'll see. Mainly, I think what I want to make sure is I want to see what a full week of just these types of 4K videos are, because that'll give me a sense of whether it's feasible to put off. I already know. It's like I already know that it's not feasible, and I'm going to have to change it up to where I'm rendering it every day, which is not a big deal. It's just, you know, I just got to change the way I do things. So, yeah, I'll start working on making it a habit so that then by the time I leave, it'll be locked in. All right. I guess I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, and yeah, see ya.